Reverend Katey Zeh, I'm so excited to be doing this with you, but Compassion School, every time I mention to somebody that RCRC is doing Compassion School or launching Compassion School, the excitement I've heard from people has been tremendous. Mm-hmm. So if you can share what sparked the idea for RCRC to offer Compassion School.
Well, I'm excited too, and I'm glad to hear that other people are resonating with the idea because I think it's something really unique, and yet the whole conversation about compassion, that's not a new thing for RCRC. I mean, that's something that we've been talking about for a long time. But I think what's new about this particular moment is, you know, how are we able to have those kinds of conversations and discussions in the particular time that we're living in? Because you, Cari, along with the team, have developed this amazing, beautiful, compassionate care curriculum that right now we can't deliver in person. And so we've been thinking about how do we bring some of the lessons from our compassionate care curriculum to this moment. And some of the conversations we've been having as a team is how this pandemic is asking us, calling all of us to deepen our compassion for ourselves and for each other, and that many times being compassionate is sort of the least appealing way of being in the world right now, or maybe the way that we think of last to be, because there's just so much uncertainty right now and so much devastation with more to come. We know that more hardship is on its way, and we're so disconnected from each other. I know everyone's talking about that, but just not being able to be in person, it really does make it easier for us to focus on our own perspective and our own set of needs when we're not able to be together. And so we hope that this school will be a time for all of us to strengthen our compassion muscles. That's how I've been talking about it, that we might not be using in the same way right now. And, you know, I was thinking about it as a group fitness instructor, which is something I haven't been able to do since March, but we talk about exercises that balance out the muscles that pull and the muscles that push.
Yes.
And we've gotten really good, I think, at pushing away right now. And healthy boundaries is absolutely essential, and we'll talk about that in the school. But I'm thinking maybe we haven't been working those muscles that pull us in towards each other. So Compassion School is going to be a kind of boot camp to strengthen those ways of being and thinking and feeling again. I'm really excited about it.
And I remember when we first started talking about Compassion School in the context of the pandemic, we were recognizing that lots of people were struggling in our country with the idea of wearing a mask as one action of compassion. And you know, we were talking about compassion in its own way, that there's a pandemic of compassionlessness, and that we wanted to help heal that particular aspect of the pandemic as well. So
absolutely, I'm looking forward to it.
So we're a reproductive freedom organization. Is Compassion School solely about the issue of reproductive freedom?
I love this because I think more of the concept of reproductive freedom as this frame and the lens through which we as an organization think about justice and compassion more broadly than that, because there's a way to connect every social injustice through the lens of reproductive injustice. So it's not the only thing we think about, but I think it's the way that we think about many issues. Reproductive freedom has to do with how we live and move in our bodies and how we take care of ourselves and the people who depend on us, who we care for and love, and how we discern our own sacred truth about what our life's purpose is and whatever that means for us. So reproductive freedom will be the lens, the primary lens, I would say, but we're going to focus on some of the most urgent collective needs of this time, because that is what the moment is calling for.
So what I'm excited about in this moment is that more people are understanding the reality of intersectionality. You know, Audre Lorde said, you know, I don't have a single issue life. And many people, when they think about justice, However, they've thought about issues of justice in very singular ways. The pandemic, wonderfully so, has helped more people look at how many issues are intersected. So, we're looking at public health and how that intersects with economics, and how that intersects with racism, and how that intersects with, on and on, the environment, and on and on and on. So I'm excited that we're doing this through that reproductive freedom lens in this very intersectional way. And we hope folks can really understand that and be charged by it in some important ways in their lives. So what is our hope for Compassion School students? What is it that we hope they will think and do differently as a result of exposure to Compassion School?
Well, I look forward to hearing what your hopes are as well. But I think that this school is an opportunity for us to cast our net even more widely than we typically do, and be a resource and a place for anybody who is seeking to grow spiritually at this time, and who might be trying to understand how to navigate the work of justice in these times, which is something we're all struggling with. What does that look like in our day-to-day lives when we're not able to be together in community? And so we're hoping we can work with advocates, faith leaders, people in the reproductive freedom field. And even if that's not your frame, even if reproductive freedom is not typically how you think about your justice work, we hope that the lessons that we've garnered over time in doing this work will be insightful and instructive for you, no matter what your work looks like, to make the world together a more just and compassionate place. Like I like to say, more just and compassionate. So Cari, what about you? What are your hopes for our participants?
So for me, as I've shared with you, when I've asked people the question, different audiences, ask them the question, what kind of society do you want us to be? The two first and loudest and most frequent responses have been for us to be a compassionate society and for us to be a just society. That's what I hear from people all the time. And I believe many of us have not thought about that. When we talk about justice, we haven't thought about how compassion is related to that, and is really the seedbed for justice. And so I'm really hoping that as people journey with us through Compassion School, that more folks will understand how important compassion is as we seek to engage in the world in fostering more justice. That's my hope. And I'm really excited because as I have been curating articles and blogs and videos and on and on and on, folks talking about, writing about compassion, every time I have looked at, listened to, read one of those resources, my heart has been filled with joy, with an encouragement, with a deeper commitment to move forward in bringing compassion more broadly in our society. And so my hope is that as folks read articles and watch videos and read quotes and repost quotes and all of those things, that they too will have an even greater commitment to being brokers of compassion in all that they do. That's my hope for our Compassion School students.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to get to know everybody and have these kinds of conversations and look at what transformation over these next few months looks like for us on a personal and a collective level.
Yes, because we're going to be inviting folks to share their journeys, share their learning, and to challenge one another. And so we're really looking forward to it.
I can't wait.